You've probably heard someone say it. Heck, maybe you've even thought it yourself. I hate people. Now, it sounds really harsh, right? But what if I told you it's one of the most misunderstood things we say? What if it has nothing to do with hate at all?
Yeah, there it is. Maybe you mutter it under your breath after a long day at work, or maybe you just feel it bubble up when you're in a super crowded place. It feels so final. And on the surface, it just looks like you're a full-blown misanthrope.
But what if we're looking at this completely backward? What if that really intense feeling isn't about being mean or cruel, but about something way, way deeper? You know, like a kind of profound exhaustion that's happening on the inside? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into.
Okay, so first things first, let's try to reframe this whole feeling. It's not an act of aggression, it's a symptom of pure exhaustion. It's not about actively wanting to push humanity away, it's about being completely and totally drained by it.
This right here, this is the core misunderstanding. What we see on the outside, the anger, the wanting to be alone, even what looks like hating people, is really just a cover for something else. That anger, that's usually burnout. That need for isolation, that's a desperate need to rest and recover. It's not an attack on the world, it's just a powerful, instinctual way of protecting yourself. Let's actually put a name to it. Social burnout. And this isn't something that just happens overnight. It's a slow, quiet drain from constantly having to be on. You know, the pressure to always listen, to be the patient one, to have all the answers. It's that feeling after a big family holiday or a long conference where you just feel hollowed out. That's the weight of all those social expectations piling up.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Your brain starts to make a very simple, but very powerful connection. People equals stress. Interaction equals my battery draining. So what happens? Avoiding people stops feeling like an antisocial thing to do and starts feeling like self-care. It literally feels like rest.
But look, this exhaustion doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's often fueled by our past experiences. That feeling of I hate people isn't just about being tired. It's also a shield we build to protect ourselves from being disappointed again.
And you can kind of see how this happens, right? It's a pretty logical, if sad, chain of events. It all starts with disappointment. And after you've been let down enough times, of course, it becomes harder to trust people. So to protect yourself, you start to lower your expectations so the fall doesn't hurt as much. And what's the final, almost inevitable step? You create distance. It's painful, for sure, but it's also a really effective way to preserve yourself. And a bunch of other things can feed into this too. For some people, it's just how they're wired. They need solitude to recharge their batteries. For others, it's like they have a built-in detector for fake behavior, and having to deal with that is just exhausting. And then, yeah, there's the simple stuff, the sheer mental fatigue that comes from noise, crowds, and endless, soul-crushing small talk. But here is the most important part of all of this, so listen up. This is not a life sentence. This mindset, it's not a permanent part of your personality. It's a temporary state. And better yet, it's totally manageable. It's about finding your way back to balance. At its core, this feeling is basically a big, flashing alarm bell. It's a powerful signal that your personal boundaries have been ignored or crossed way too many times. It means you've been pushed past your limit. But the really good news is, the moment you start building and defending some healthier limits, that harsh feeling, it starts to soften. The key to all of this is getting good at emotional boundaries. And all that really means is protecting your own inner world. It's about being more intentional about who you give your time to, and this is the big one, how much of your energy you're willing to give away. It's about taking back control and giving yourself permission to say no, or to just decide you don't have the capacity for something right now. It stops the overload before it even starts.
And this, I think, just says it all perfectly. The end goal here isn't to dislike people for the rest of your life. It's about making a strategic shift from quantity to quality in your social life. You don't end up shutting everyone out forever. You just get way more selective about who you let in.
So all of this leaves us with one final thought. This whole journey, it isn't really about hating people at all, is it? It's about learning how to protect your own peace of mind. And that leads to a really important personal question. What does a healthy, protective emotional boundary actually look like in your life?